Welcome to Neglected Licks with Sean Daniel, where the only thing more neglected than the licks is my car's check engine light for 4 years now. So now when it comes to building guitar licks, I think there's something that's really simple that gets really neglected and overlooked a lot. And that's essentially the major triad. So what you're going to hear right now is just a basic C major chord progression, and it's really just a C major chord. Play the notes in a C major chord, C, E, and G, in a couple different spots over that loop, and it's going to sound like this. What we have here are just those three simple notes in different locations. I'm rocking out the D'angelico Deluxe SS for this lesson, and essentially, like I said, it's just the notes in the chord. So sometimes I think when it comes to maybe like learning licks or doing scales and arpeggios and stuff, you can kind of lose and neglect some of the actual basic building blocks and core principles of just chord progressions in music. So again, that was just really a C major chord, couple different chord voicings, okay? And again, C major chord is a C, an E, a G. This is movable, so I'll show you how to move it in basically any position you want to over any major chord, but it all starts with finding out where those notes are, okay? So a C, an E, and a G in a row is called an arpeggio, okay? Now this is basically like a core principle of the class that I made and just visualizing the fretboard, which I'll link you to below. But essentially here it is. 3rd fret on the A string is a C, 2nd fret on the D string is an E, 5th fret on that same string is a G, okay? Now the great thing about learning a triad, a 3-note chord or a 3-note arpeggio, is that a lot of times 2 of those notes are going to be on the same string. So that's going to be a very important thing for getting into learning the actual lick in a second, but I want to start on the lower end right here. C, E, G. Okay? The great thing about guitar is usually you can play one note and then either hammer on or pull off to kind of increase your speed and just lick building in general, right? So find a root note, any root note. Again, C, we do the same thing in D. E. All these shapes are going to be the exact same, just on different root notes, okay? So we have this first C major arpeggio, which we're going to lead right into this, which is going to be the next one. And this is going to be one that's a little more valuable to us because, again, a lot of this lick series is kind of building your own lead-based playing, which a lot of times is going to happen on some of the higher strings because it's going to stay out of the way of a lower voiced chord, as it is in this example. So the next arpeggio is going to be here. The 5th fret on the G string, the 5th fret on the B string, and the 8th fret on the B string. So here's our octave C, same note. And again, if you don't know how to find that, I've got other videos, and also in that class we go over it a lot. So there's a C, there's this major 3rd E, 5th fret on the B string, and then 3 frets away from any chord's major 3rd is going to be its 5th, 1, 3, 5. And again, if you don't know where that comes from, it's just the major scale. The 1st note, the 3rd note, and the 5th note will always give you the notes in that chord's triad, okay? So now after this, we have a C, an E, a G. We can do that as an arpeggio. Or we can actually do what's called an inversion, where we start on the E. We're starting on the 3rd of that note, getting the 5th, and ending on the root note, which is going to be the 8th fret of the high E string. So I think inversion is actually a really tasteful way to play something that's still kind of interesting over what is essentially just the chord that you're playing, right? So we have an E, a G, and a C. Super interesting, right? We're ending on the root note. We're inverting it. So again, this is going to be the first part that we're going to use over that, that loop that I set up. So, it starts here. Alright, we're just doing that hammer on. And again, it's hammer, C, and I'm getting B and E again. And then 8, 5, 5 on the B string. And then we're going to switch into a new position. position. Okay, now what I did there is I set up the next step of that 3-note triad. Now I'm taking, remember, we have the E, the G, and the C. I'm sliding to the G, to the C, and adding the E, which is the 12th fret on the high E string, right? The octave of the E. Right there, okay? We can do that exact same thing, okay? So now I'm combining it with this little riff I made up here. Alright? Now again, this isn't about just copying this riff, it's about really using these tools to make up your own stuff. But basically that's kind of the principle of what we have going on here. We have a hammer on, a slide into a new position, and then the next part of the arpeggio. Now the next thing we're going to do is go one further. Okay, so now I'm sliding into the 13th fret of the B string, which is a C, and then its third, E, which is 12th fret on the high E string, and 15, C, E, G, which is the exact same shape that we started with. So even though we don't use this part in the lick, it's still important because that's the shape that we use. So all together it's... And I think it's important to kind of end and resolve on the root note right there, okay? So again, all of this is movable, so it's really about seeing the connections between these things, right? So again, I'm starting here on this E note, the 5th fret of the B string. That's why it's important to know what notes are in a triad, whether it's major or minor. Again, we're focusing specifically on the major triads right here, but I'm always using a landmark to find out where this is. In this case, whenever I think of like C major, a lot of times what I go to is like a C major pentatonic or an A minor pentatonic. It's the exact same thing, same kind of shape, right? This 5-7 or 5-8, 5-7, 5-7, 5-7, 5-8, 5-8, which is the same thing as the C major pentatonic, just starting on the C, right? Again, so I'm thinking of this position, and how I'm going to get there is my pointer finger is going to grab the chain reaction that starts off this kind of, like I said, chain reaction, right? So I'm thinking the whole thing in C major, but I'm also incorporating minor pentatonic to help me find that arpeggio kind of launching station. So if you want to do it in a different key, let's take something totally different, like let's take the key of D, right? Well, you can always find the D note, the 10th fret on the low E string, go into major pentatonic, or B minor is relative minor pentatonic, and then whatever the notes are, let's say I don't even know what a D major's notes are, D, F sharp, A, flexing a little bit, but I can just find that spot in the pentatonic shape. So again, that roadmap just kind of leads your ear and your hands into these shapes that you become really comfortable with, and then you can kind of just rip off anything, right? So again, I'll start that loop up again. Again, this is just a C major chord, right? And I can do anything. I can start on the lower end. I can jump right here. Arpeggio, all same thing. Minor pentatonic. So again, it's kind of using the same principles, but just playing them all over the fretboard. Just make up your own licks, just kind of solo over whatever you want. Super neglected, because like I said before, we tend to kind of want to use all these different things that you're going all over the place, but really, Just chisel it down to the chord tones, finding out where those arpeggios are. And then really kind of incorporating them into a lead-based style thing. So really, just rock this out. Have fun with it. Like I said, if you like this style of learning, I did a whole class on this with my friend Justin, where we have backing tracks and tabs and everything to play along with. So make sure you click the link below to check that out. And if you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.